Rascals and Moline, and I've got Dane McCartney here, who is, I've mentioned him a few times on the podcast. He's in a Maiden and Judas Priest tribute band called Judas Beast. And man, the first time I saw him sing, I was absolutely blown away. You know, when you hear of a Maiden tribute band and you're a singer yourself, you're like, I got to go see if this guy can really do it or not. Yeah. But man, I got to tell you, I've never heard anybody sing Maiden that way. You sound like Bruce Dickinson to a T to me. So,
well, thank you.
Hey, humbled. It's true. I mean, I'm not trying to kiss your ass about it. It's just, I'm a singer myself, so one thing I noticed is you guys play for quite a while. So you're singing hard stuff all night. It's not like you have an easy, every rose has its thorn song to fall back on to kill some time. I mean, everything's stomping all the time. So
right.
How do you keep your voice up like that?
Well, one of the great things about Bruce Dickinson that I've discovered over the years, especially when it comes to high notes, as being a singer, when you go to high notes, a lot of times you go to your falsetto, your head voice. Bruce only goes to that voice on his actual screams. Every other thing he does, even in the chorus of Run to the Hills, the higher the note, the lower he goes in his diaphragm. And I've found over the years, even with a massive cold where I'm talking like this, I still sing and it still sounds almost the same. So that's kind of the secret. That and a lot of cardio. I mean, I know why Bruce has stayed thin all these years. Is a lot of cardio.
Well, that's funny you say that about having a cold, because I was just sick with some kind of throat thing last week, and there was a couple days where I couldn't get above like my talking voice right here, and it would just start breaking right above that. And I even tried to warm up my voice like I would for a show, see if I could break through it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't going to happen. I mean, have you ever had that situation before, and what kind of steps would you take to get through that?
Well, when I have had those, we've had to drop songs maybe like Jawbreaker, songs like that, where I'm going to do a really high Halford scream. I've never dropped Victim of Changes, which you would think, but those are the kind of shows. I mean, I feel for you, if you sing a lot with your head voice, you get a cold, there's not really a lot you can do about it. A lot of those singers, they cancel shows because of those. So
I somewhat learned how to sing. I was following guys like Dream Theater and Skid Row and all these things. And Skid Row, he has a certain break in his voice that you can't emulate unless you're him. But
right.
I knew that in order to get them notes with power, you had to sing from your gut. You couldn't sing through your nose. The stuff that you and I are singing, especially you, I mean, on the scale of difficulty, it's like a 9. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
All the time, every night.
Absolutely.
And you also do original stuff, right? You've had.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you find that you sound like Bruce Dickinson, or is it?
Yeah. I was with a band called Sins of a Nation, and we were. It was around the 2011-2012 time. Had a 21-year-old guitar player. We had the artist from Avenged Sevenfold doing our album covers. We had members of Disturbed backing our band. I actually recorded the CD in LA, working with a gentleman that worked on Bruce Dickinson's Accident of Birth and Chemical Wedding. When he heard my voice, he said, I know how to record Bruce Dickinson, so I know how to record your singer.
Awesome.
So I went out and used Bruce Dickinson's actual microphone.
What was it, a Neumann or?
It was a very expensive mic. I'm not even sure.
Oh, come on, man.
One of these things. It was huge. And I mean, I could have closed the studio door, went across the street and dropped a pin, and you could have heard it in that microphone.
Yeah.
It was intimidating. Thing was really surreal.
Yeah.
I walk in, they're like, well, this is where Bruce Dickinson recorded The Tower off of Chemical Wedding. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're like, put the headphones on and sing Bow Down. And I'm like, wow. So we did the album. It got great reviews and everything else. But yeah, along the way, people said, well, you sound like Bruce Dickinson. So what's your gimmick? And I said, I don't believe in gimmicks. I'm a singer.
You're a singer.
You take me or leave me.
I kind of ran into that same problem with some of the projects that I've done. Is it's immediately labeled as it's 80s sounding or it's old school metal sounding because you sing above your falsetto,
right,
and you use vibrato. So obviously you're dated right there, right?
Absolutely.
Because we haven't heard that for 15 years or 20
Absolutely.
years now.
Yep.
And there's some bands kind of doing it, with the dual guitars. You could hear bands that sound like Maiden these days, but their vocals don't. And it's always a letdown. You hear this great riff, right? And this dual guitars and this beautiful song, and then all of a sudden the singer comes in and it ruins the whole thing, right?
Absolutely.
To me it does. I mean, to other people they love it. Maybe Bruce Dickinson ruins it for them, but for me, I'm like, I want to hear a singer,
I agree.
And that depicts my age too. So
yeah.
But and also what's cool about Judas Beast, when they come to town, you guys bring the whole show with you. I know that this Rascals isn't that big of a place, but you still bring as much stuff to look at as you can.
Right, yeah. Minus the 20-foot backdrops and the 12-foot tall Eddie, because we can't physically do it here. But we do have a 12-foot Eddie that walks around stage, yeah.
That is awesome. How do you do that?
Our guy that does all of our web designs, our stage designs and everything, he has constructed this body armor cast thing that the head just goes way up, and people are looking into Eddie's eyes, and they're actually looking right into our guy's eyes because he's still on the ground, and he's just
so weird.
It's almost like a puppet. He's working it like from the bottom.
Oh wow, really cool.
Inverted puppet, sort of. Yeah.
So that takes a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I guess if you're going to do a tribute to a band, you might as well do it right, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, you guys definitely got it going on. I mean, I know the first time I saw you guys here, there was maybe 10 people here, and I was one of the lucky people to be here. And then the next time there was some more, and it's a slow build, because if you took the whole population of the Quad Cities and then took the Maiden fans out of it, there's still only going to be maybe 100 people in here, because it's a diminishing craft.
It is.
In a way, So, but I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm glad that there's an outlet to come see it, because you don't get to see it very often. And another weird thing that I noticed is there's no amps on stage.
Right. Yeah, only the bass player. He has his amp in the back.
So I was gonna ask your guitar players and stuff how they're running, but they're running direct, and then they're hearing the guitars through the monitors.
Yeah, they have powered monitors.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have room for all that shit up there if you had amps up there.
No.
It's like, guys, it's either amps or heads on sticks. That's
well. And you have a drummer that has like a 72-piece kit who you can't even see the guy up there.
Oh yeah, well that's authentic right there.
It is. Yes.
I mean,
he emulates Nico's drum kit. He pretty much stripped that thing and made it himself. It was a blue kit. It looked like a chrome vehicle. He stripped it down to wood and redid it all himself.
That's great.
He did a great job, yeah.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
I noticed when you sing, the vocal effects are always on for you. When I'm singing stuff, I always have to rely on the sound guy to hit the delays and all that stuff, and they usually don't.
Right.
Because they're used to mixing modern music. So when you go into that higher stuff, you're like, come on, man, where's that at? But you run it yourself from the stage.
I do.
Which is brilliant.
Oh, well.
Which is brilliant. And in a second, I might want to go up there and have you show me what you're doing.
I'm out there to help anybody. I mean, I've been, the key song would be Aces High. Every time we would go to a place, I would ask the sound guy. I'd say, listen, I have my own effects pedal. And he would say, no, I got you. And I'm like, are you familiar with Aces High? And he's like, yeah. I said, okay, so it's running, scramble, flying.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no, I know that very well. I get up there, nothing, or it's the wrong delay, it's the wrong time, and the band's just like, what the hell? So finally, I'm a very humble person.
Sure.
But I finally went in and said, I'm using my own vocal pedal, period.
Right.
It's not a discussion because, I'm sure you're a great sound guy, but
It's kind
I
of
need
like
to do it.
you don't want anybody else making your bowl of cereal. You're never going to get the milk ratio right. You're never going to get the crunch berries right. That's how I saw it. I was like, I don't like when people make me a bowl of cereal. I'll run my own shit. I'll make my own. It's a real personal thing, and you know it's going to happen, and that gives you confidence too, knowing that it's going to be there.
Right.
And if you mess it up, it's you that
Absolutely.
messed it up.
Absolutely.
So what was it? When did you notice that you could sing like that? Were you singing the Maiden songs in your Camaro back in the 80s and shit?
Gosh, I've been listening to Iron Maiden since I was 11 years old. And when I was little, I used to sing, Run through the hills,
Yeah.
I didn't really know how to do it from the stomach or anything like that, but I kind of, jollied my way through a few bands. I sucked. I was out of key. I had, and then the 90s came, and then I started going and singing like these Stone Temple Pilot bands and Toadies and all this stuff. And finally one day my guitarist came up and he said, you sound bored singing this stuff. He said, you just sound bored. I said, no, I'm not bored, I don't think. He said, I know this Russian vocal coach. Maybe you could go to him because he said, your voice is just kind of going sharp and flat. So I went to this Russian vocal coach. First thing he had me do was sing Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie. And every time I would get to the verse, he'd be like, oh my God. And I'm like, what? And yeah, there we go. Hey!
That's okay. That's okay.
Can you tell him just lower?
That's what I get for doing interviews during Soundcheck.
So every time I would get to the verse of Ziggy Stardust, he would go, oh my gosh, you sound like Bruce Dickinson. And I go, oh God, I'm trying to get away from that,
Yeah.
But at that point, he posed a question to me. If you sound like one of the best singers in the history of heavy metal, why would you veer away from it? So I was like, wow.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
If you're good at it, like you are, then you're doing something that you love to do. And I mean, I'm sure that you never ever wake up in the morning and feel like you're Bruce Dickinson. You know that you're Dane, and
Right.
but you're gifted with that voice. And why not use that where it should be used, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the day of the tribute band. I mean, we got a local band here called Electric Shock that does an AC/DC tribute to the T.
I've heard them. They're great.
They're blowing up.
They're
they're
great.
getting great gigs. They're getting great money, and it works out that way. Unfortunately, I try to think of who I could be a tribute to, and I think maybe like Slaughter, and I can't sing like that guy, so I'm fucked. I can't do nothing.
I don't know, Brian. I heard you in
I don't
June.
want to sound like that guy. Okay.
Yeah, but
I
I heard you in June, and you were nailing all kinds of
Well,
stuff.
I
in
appreciate
June.
that.
Yeah, it
And
sounded
the
great.
fact, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Since you were there, I was putting it on a little more. And if my throat wouldn't have felt good, I'd have been really worried. Oh no, man, Dane's here. Because you want to impress each other. That's how we are, right?
Right, absolutely.
So, to singer, man, I was glad that you were there, and I was glad that my voice was in shape so that I could deploy my craft for you, because you've done it for me several times, and I'm sitting out here, you don't know me from Adam, and I'm like, God, this is wonderful, and you don't know if I know what I'm talking about or not, but goddamn, I couldn't do what you do. I wish I could. I can for short spurts of time. I can't sound like Bruce Dickinson, but I can hit all the notes for maybe 20 minutes.
That's good though.
I used to do Run to the Hills in a band, and it was one of my favorite songs to do. And everybody kind of like, whoa, because they're impressed by the harmony and the Run to the Hills part and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And it sounds awesome if you get it right. If you get the vibratos with the backups and the leads just right.
Yes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
You have a lot of guitar players.
We have three.
Well, just like Maiden.
Yeah, just like Maiden.
Yeah.
Because I know when Yannick joined the band in 2000, I know the first time I saw Iron Maiden live, I'm like, this is a fucking orchestra now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is amazing. And it doesn't drop off during the guitar harmonies anymore. Now they're able to, do the rhythm underneath, and it's just amazing.
When I was a young kid, just coming up on guitar, because that was my main instrument first, and I would learn all these Maiden songs, and I just remember how fun that was to find them out and figure them out and play with the songs. It was just I think that planted something in me, metal-wise. You get it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You get what it is. And when I watch your guitar players, they all seem like they go off into that land like how I felt doing it and feeling it. They don't seem like, oh, it's another song. A lot of cover bands are like that. But you could tell that they enjoy what they're doing and they want to know the parts right.
They do.
It's really cool
They do.
to watch.
They want to go. They want to go note for note in the solos. They work on the harmonies. They work hard. They work very hard.
Well, if you're gonna do something, do it right, right?
Yeah. I'm truly blessed.
Have you met Bruce Dickinson?
I've not.
You
I've met everyone but Adrian and Bruce.
The world is broken. This man needs to meet Bruce Dickinson. Like Bruce Dickinson even would care to watch this, but I'm just saying, if you know, they got the 7 degrees of separation. They say that every 7, for 7 people in a room, collectively they know people that know people that know people that knows everybody.
That's right.
It's
a small world.
Get us to Bruce Dickinson. This man needs to sing a song with him. He needs to come on stage and sing with him. We could get that done, man.
That would be amazing.
But man, it was a good time, dude.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll
Brian,
go
for
take a look
everything.
at your live rig.
Let's do it.
Have a great set tonight. And,
Thank you.
The next time you're here, come out and see these guys.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man.
Okay, so we got a line 6. We got a line 6 wireless mic here. Cool thing is you can set it to a Shure 58 setting or a PV setting or anything, but I always like the line 6. It seems a little crisper. They probably do it on purpose because it's line 6 and they're probably fuck Shure and all them, so they make it sound worse. But the real secret here is the Digitech Vocalist pedal. This thing here, my brilliant bass player helped me set everything up. So we have a Flight of Icarus. So when I say looks the old man in the eye, I just have to say it one time, and then the pedal goes eye. Okay? So we set that delay.
Okay.
And you go through like 95 settings. I got the Aces High, which I told you the Aces High is the one they messed up all the time. So this has got a perfect delay for the Aces High. Thank God we have a good drummer, so that means he usually plays everything about the same speed. So we figured out ways to do it. Maybe a little bit off here and there, but they're pretty spot on. As you can tell, I have one setting just for the Flight of Icarus for the eye. That's how minute price perfect we want things. We want everything perfect. I've also got the 22, so if you're feeling down, depressed, and lonely, I know a place we can go, right there. So yeah, because I got tired of doing it because I look stupid going go, trying to emulate it. So yeah, so it worked out nicely. I also have a 7 Sun setting, which we need to add some delay to it for the because we do not have keyboards in the band. Every once in a while we have a guest keyboard player. When we do, we sound like an orchestra. It's awesome. But we don't always have that, so we want it to sound right. So when we do 7 Sun, so this is like a choir setting almost. So
as you're singing, you're clicking through patches, and they're in order of your set list.
Absolutely.
And then you ever get like mixed up and you can't get the right one up in time?
No, I've been doing this for so long now that I've got it down. Although one night my bass player, he decided to play Rockstar, and he got up here like this with his bass, and it was during Hallowed Be Thy Name. So when I came back in with the yeah, I was Alvin and the Chipmunks because he went all the way up to like 172 Chipmunk setting, which we had.
It was an accident.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
No, don't lie. You guys are a Chipmunk tribute band too on Sundays.
So looking at the crowd, that was quite a shock to the crowd. But yeah, those are the type of effects. Man, I don't want to use the robot voice and all that. You know, with no pitch shifters, nothing like that. I don't believe in that stuff. If you have to use the pitch shifters and all that stuff, then quit singing or go get lessons. Don't use a pedal up for that. Just don't cheat. But this just kind of does everything, like I said. This way the sound guy can take the night off. Not that I don't trust him, but night off from the you know.
It's awesome.
Things easier.
Thank you very much, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate everything you did for me.
Sure, Brian.
Sounds good up here. Thank you. Hello, Cleveland. Yeah. Oh, 4 people here, man. Were you nervous? Oh, yeah.